What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back from Glastonbury, back making the content for you guys. Sim, not ready, just about to start making content, but I am here, and we've got Brian here as well. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing very, very good. Always a pleasure to be with you, Ben, and we are Tottenham TV. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. Had a very good time at Glastonbury, and a lot of news was coming through, and it was a pain that we couldn't update the people of all the news coming through. So I thought we'll do a long update today, a bit of stuff that has gone on over the last couple of days, but mainly what has gone on today. And we're going to start off with Fabio Paratici. Ali Gold says that Paratici is involved in a consultancy role at Tottenham after parts of his worldwide ban were lifted. Paratici is understood to be aiding the club's summer plans to rebuild the squad for a new head coach under Postecoglou. And also Greta Steinson has been sacked, or he's left the club. I'm not sure which one it is. But it's interesting that because Paratici is the one that brought in Greta Steinson, and Paratici is still in the consultancy role, and he's gone from the club. So I don't really know what to make out of all of this.
Do you know what? I'm struggling. I think when we heard about the goalkeeper, it looked like this, and we heard certain things that Paratici might have been heavily involved, and it might have been that they had discussed this summer's targets before it happened to get ahead of themselves, and it looked like, and the way we were going for multiple defenders, it just had the ring of what we've known with Paratici, hasn't it? And then obviously Ali Gold's come in, and it ties in with this whole talk: are we getting a director of football or not? Because we might now have a football consultant rather than a director of football. I'm puzzled at what to make with this, because you have to look at it. Some of the transfers he brought in have worked. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Some little bit to the imagination, but it fits into why there isn't a director of football at the moment to me. What about you?
I've gone on record many a time and said the quality of player coming in under Paratici, I'm happy with, for the most part, right? There obviously has been some that hasn't worked. There's always going to be some that's not going to work. But for me, for the most part, I've been happy with the caliber of player in. But do we really want someone of what Paratici has been doing for Juventus at this football club? I just don't think we do, to be honest. And it goes more to morality than maybe football, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me, to be honest. It just really doesn't sit right with me.
It's a strange budget, isn't it? There's no denying his credentials. There's no denying his contacts. There's no denying, and I've said before, I think I think Paratici, what he's doing behind the scenes, is in trying to get a structure in the football club, was more important than what he was actually doing on the pitch for the squad. So I'm with you on the ethical stand. When someone's been brought into disrepute or something like that, you don't really want it associated with your club or anything like that. So it's just a strange one.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, if he brings in the good targets for Tottenham Hotspur, we're not going to be sitting here complaining, are we?
Yep.
So let's move on and let's talk about some actual players. And one name who it just broke out of nowhere since we've gone away. I can't pronounce his first name. Do you know any idea how to pronounce his first name? Vicario?
No.
I'll try it. It's Guillermo.
Guillermo, I think it's Guillermo. It's like Guillermo or something like that. We'll go with that. We'll go with me butchering it.
We'll go with that. I'm not going to try and say it, but we'll go with your one. So a lot of news has been coming out with him. We got the here we go from Fabrizio while I was away. And now Romano has said in the last few hours that Vicario is in London right now to complete a medical as a Tottenham new signing. Deal will be announced this week. So talk to me about your thoughts, because last time we were together in the studio, we had a lot of debate around the goalkeeper situation. David Raya it was at that time. What's your thoughts now?
So I said to you before we came on, I said, you know what, I need to come off my high horse, and people will know that I always say, I'll put my hands up and say I'm wrong when I'm wrong. I really wanted David Raya, and I went very, very aggressive and angry when we were in the studio together, because it just, for me, it just ticked all the boxes with David Raya. The price was the big factor, but I think what he could bring ticked all the boxes. The Willis family and him settling in London and learning that everything was ticked. And then 24 hours later, when I heard straight away a cheaper goalkeeper was lined up and it was moving quickly, my natural setting is to go mental at Levy, to go, and I did. And you know what? I'm not sorry about that, because a lot of the time it's been that way. But there was a tweet, and I don't know who tweeted it, but quite a few people tweeted it afterwards and said, "Do you know what? Spurs fans say they want to go down the Brighton model and data and unearth players, and then the very second we do it, they start going, 'Oh my God, who is he? No one's heard of him.' Blah 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 blah." And when I heard and read that tweet and actually looked at it and said, "Do you know what? I've fallen blatantly into that category."
Yeah.
And I want us to shift to this. Obviously, this data analytical stuff takes time to build up. But I was wrong for jumping the gun. I was wrong for jumping the gun. Listen, he sounds like he will be a decent keeper, but I can't be one saying I want things to change, and then when they start changing, going, "Well, I don't like it because I can't do that." So hands up to me. I was wrong there. I jumped the gun. I went to default setting, and let's see. It looks like the response has been very good about what his attributes are.
Yeah, so I've been looking into him a bit, and it looks as though like his reputation outside of Italy doesn't seem to be all that. But inside of Italy, where people watch him week in, week out, he seems to have a lot of admirers, to be honest. And I've seen like people like Gigi Buffon calling him like the future of Italian goalkeeping, and they've got a younger keeper in Donnarumma there that starts week in, week out for the national side. So it's hard to make out of how good he actually will be and can be, but from what I'm reading from certain reliable sources inside of Italy, he seems like a top keeper.
Well, I have to say, if you're looking for a glowing endorsement about an Italian goalkeeper, getting these words from Buffon is not to be scoffed at. That Joe, what more of a ringing endorsement from a superstar and a legend of goalkeeping? So if he's saying that about him, he knows to spot a goalkeeper. So you can't get fairer than that.
All right, so we've got a keeper. He is in London right now. Medical will be happening. I heard it was today or tomorrow, but it will be happening over the next. I think we'll probably get an announcement probably by Wednesday or Thursday, I would imagine, on Vicario. That's just guesswork. There's no reliable sources saying that. But let's move on. Let's talk about the juicy one today, and that is James Maddison. As Fabrizio Romano says, there will be more contacts this week for James Maddison. There is a concrete discussion between Tottenham and the player side. He is a priority target. Tottenham are thought to be ahead of the Newcastle in the race. That update from Romano was about 2 days ago. Ali Gold followed on from that and said Postecoglou is a big fan of Maddison, and both Levy and Paratici and Spurs are looking to drive through a deal for the Leicester midfielder in the coming weeks. Jay Percy says that Tottenham's first formal offer for Maddison is imminent. And then he goes on to say Tottenham are prepared to pay an initial £40 million for Maddison and want to strike a compromise, which will include add-ons and a further instalments because they want 60 million. And then finally, he goes on to say Spurs are pushing hard to agree a fee with relegated Leicester in the next few days. However, in the last couple of hours, we've had updates from George Bannister and Paul O'Keefe. Bannister says, I expect the add-ons to be created given Norwich's sell-on percentage that they are due. I think Spurs feel that they'll be able to tempt Leicester into lowering their demands to covering the higher amount up front so they don't have to pay Leicester so much in the percentages. And O'Keefe says that Maddison has already agreed personal terms with Tottenham for just over £9 million a year, which is £173,000 a week for James Maddison. So it looks as though personal terms are wrapped up. It's just a case of agreeing a fee with Leicester. And if that first offer comes in of 40 million plus add-ons, you do imagine we will get there.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say about this in a negative way to begin with, then we'll go on to the positives, is we've just spoke about the goalkeeper. We've had personal terms agreed with Raya, and we've seen what happens there. Could this be another smokescreen? Could this be... I think the very positive thing about this is this is the first play I've heard where Andrew said he's given it the green light. Ange wants this guy. We obviously there's loads of rumours coming about everyone, but we haven't heard Ange wants this guy. And with this one we have, and Joe, what I said I'll bring this up. Very good friend of mine, Wayne Holland, who is a Leicester fan. When this all started breaking a couple of days ago, like moving along, and especially from where he's here in Leicester, he gave me a pros and cons list of what to expect from Maddison. I'll just quickly read through it. It's only very brief. So the pros: can literally take teams apart. Passing is excellent. Best position is 10. Excellent delivery. Brilliant at finding space. great creative player. These are all fantastic things and desperately we need. Cons. And this is a Leicester fan who's watched him closely for God knows how long now he's been there. Only turns up 1 in 3 games. Injury record is a bit concerning. Do not play him out wide at all. Can be temperamental. Expect him to lose the ball a lot. Will never track back. So listen, Ange could coach him out of those cons and turn them into or remove those cons. Obviously, there's pros and cons to every player. And with these creative, I think the expect him to lose the ball a lot is a great thing to say, but you expect that with the creative players for trying to be creative, don't you? So I think that's a trait of all creative players.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And those things, the one that stands out to me is the injury record, because he does seem to get injured quite a fair bit. In the terms of the one that he only turns up 1 in every 3 games, I mean, his goal contribution return over the last 2 years for someone that only turns up 1 in 3 games is absolutely sensational. So I'll take that, to be honest.
Yeah, you know, with the injury record as well, what I found with James Maddison is he doesn't get these little knocks. He's out for a game. If he gets an injury, it's him out on the sideline for like a month, 2 months, whatever. So with our medical team, people have to be careful. But listen, we a lot of Spurs fans have said, listen, I mean, if he comes, Ryan Isaacs is going to be going absolutely potty. But he is a very creative player, and it's what we've been lacking. So if he comes in, and like I said, if the opening bid is 14 add-ons, you've got to imagine that this is going to get wrapped up very quickly.
Yeah, you think it's going to happen?
I'm leaning towards, like I said, I wanted Eze, but we haven't been linked with him or anything. That's my pipe dream. But I think this one does get over the line. I really do.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think I'd prefer Eze as well, but I think Maddison is a very, very good player. So I'd be very happy to see him through the door. England international as well. So fills up one of the English spots that we desperately need. So I think it's a good signing all round, to be honest. And if it is true that doing the rounds on social media, like you mentioned before, if he is one that Ange Postecoglou really wants, then get him in. That's what we want. Next up, let's talk about Edmund Tapsoba of Leverkusen. The Athletic says that the expectation is that talks between Tottenham and Leverkusen will take place in the coming days for Tapsoba. Romano says the fee for Tapsoba could be around 45 to 50 million euros. Tottenham scouts have followed him for many times this year, and they feel he's perfect for the Premier League. Paul O'Keefe says that Tottenham and Bayer Leverkusen are in talks right now for Edmund Tapsoba. Personal terms will not be an issue. So this one seems to be moving at fast pace as well.
It does. And you know what? I have to say fair play to Sean Butler for this one, because he's been calling this, like, I wasn't very familiar with the name, but he has been beating this drum for a very, very long time. And it looks like a player he's done his homework on and has been talking about a lot. Seems to be coming true. And I like what I'm seeing of him. And we all know the goalkeeper, central defence and creative midfielder are the necessities of this club. And I didn't want to see us doing what we did last summer, where we went for players all over the place and didn't address key and fundamental areas. And it looks like we're addressing it, and he looks like a very decent player we may have on our hands.
How many centre-backs do you want to see through the door from now until the end of the transfer window?
I've been on straight. I said I'd want to see 2 minimum.
Yeah, me as well.
2 minimum. It's got to be done. Like I've been saying, when people keep saying how many players do you want to bring in, I've been saying I think we desperately need to bring in 4 in the players' positions we just mentioned. Anything else we get as top up, or when players go out, we bring someone in, is just a bonus. We need to address these 4 areas vitally, and if we do it, then you've got to say fair play.
Yeah, and in terms of Edmund Tapsoba, I don't know if you've looked into him or see what he's about, but I personally feel he's probably the best target out there that we could possibly get for a moderate fee, someone that's not unrealistic and we're going to break the bank for, because we're not going to do that. But for 45 to 50 million for someone like him, for me, it's a steal, and I think he goes up dramatically in value probably over the next couple of years as well at Tottenham Hotspur if he really, plays to his strength. Because I believe he's perfect for the Premier League. I think he's perfect for Tottenham, and I think to have a back 4 with Tapsoba partnering Christian Romero, I think that is a brilliant partnership, and I think that they can form such a great bond together.
Well, the thing is, we've all been screaming out for Romero to have a ready, regular centre back partner that is of good quality that he can build a relationship with, because he simply hasn't had it at Spurs in the 2 years he's
Yeah,
been here.
yeah.
He's been playing in a back three. He's had a very up and down in form in Dyer. Recently, very, very down. Ben Davies, who was fantastic the first part of Conte, mixed. Longley, let's not even go there. So if we can get an established partner for him, or even two, or just a nucleus of you had Dorrington into that maybe, or whoever. But there's like, right, here are your four centre backs. These are the four you're going to work with. Hopefully we can listen. They haven't. They come into a season. You just don't concede 63 goals or more.
Yeah.
You're coming into the you're coming in the back of
62.
the. Yeah, you know what I mean. You're coming into a team where we've just had our worst defensive record in the Premier League. New defence, and it looks like an eager defence. It could be. We'll see what happens, but it can't be worse than what we've just had to see.
And with the names being linked, and the names look like, we could potentially be getting with Maddison and Tapsoba. I mean, these fall in line with what we were saying before with the Paratici, with the signings that he has been making with the Romeros, the Poros, the Bentancurs, the Kulusevski. This is what I was talking about time and time again, where that needs to be the kind of base quality that we bring in. And I believe those players are of that quality. Are you agreeing?
It's hard for me to say I agree because I haven't seen enough of Tapsoba. I'm not going to start saying, yeah, I've watched him every week. But I didn't know a damn thing about Bentancur. And look what this man has done. If we brought in players from the Far East or Australia that Ange wants, it's an untapped market. We don't know what they're going to be like. So it looks like they may be listening to the manager. They may be falling in line with areas that we actually need. And like you said, the finances and the players, type of players, looks like we're finally doing it.
Well, if that is true, what you're saying, it's only taken 22 years, however long it's been.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what they say, Ben. 46th window works a charm.
Let's move on and let's talk about Mickey van der Ven from Holland and Wolfsburg. Romano says that van der Ven is on Tottenham's list for a new centre-back target alongside Edmund Tapsoba, and talks have already taken place for the Wolfsburg centre-back. And I tell you what, I've seen prices being banned about 20-25 million for this guy. If we can get Tapsoba for 40 to 50 million, this guy for 20 to 25, plus another centre-back who we're going to talk about in a minute for very cheap. That is our defensive centre-back, like literally completely reformed. And I've done a lot of research into this Van der Ven, and he is like elite ball-playing centre-back, elite. I'm not too sure about his actual defending and how good he is as an actual defender, because it's hard to read into those stats, especially into the German league, because it's a very attacking league. But I know that his ball-playing ability and how progressive he is on the ball is second to none.
Yeah, all I can say, the one thing I've been looking when I have looked into him is searing pace.
Yeah,
searing pace. And do you remember when we were having the Key Porcel segment that we did in the studio? And I said the only one thing that Sanchez could offer, other than any other defender for the high line, was the pace. Well, this guy could give Davinson Sanchez a half a football pitch head start and probably catch up with him. This guy is electric. And the fee, I think we got to talk about the fee. For me, if he's at this fee, and Liverpool are also meant to be rumoured, this is the kind of fee where we should be biting people's hands off. These are the kind of fees that the board are happy to pay, or the kind of segment and price valuation that we normally do pay. So we need to be on this rapidly, because he does look like a very good player with a lot of potential, and I would be all for this one, all for it.
So imagine we go from one season having Davis and Longley as our left centre back options, and next season you replace that with Tapsoba and Mickey van der Ven. I mean, that is is that not revolutionising the defence?
That is, and like I said, if that does happen, like I've always said, I will give credit to the club. I will give credit to the club for finally, like you said, all right, 22 years or whatever. But we've been shambolic in defence. And not to say that these defenders won't take time, might not be shambolic to begin with and might make a few rickets, but you can see there's a nucleus there to build on and to say, right, these guys are going to improve. So if we get these two in, then I'm going to be delighted, absolutely over the moon.
Me as well. Let's move on. Let's talk about some more centre-backs. We've got 3 more centre-backs to talk about today. And next up is Gleison Bremer. And Mike McGrath of The Telegraph says that Tottenham are watching Bremer's situation at Juventus. Jay Percy says that Tottenham are considering a bid for Juventus centre-back Gleison Bremer. But very reliable Juventus source, Romeo Agresti, close friend of the channel as well, he says Juventus would want 80 million euros to sell reported Tottenham target Gleison Bremer. So I think that probably puts the nail in the coffin on that one.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wanted him last season as well, didn't he? I mean, you look at him, I put him in the crown jewel of defenders for what we can see and what he can potentially be. I just, even for the want of triumph, I just can't see this happening. Would love it to. I just can't see it happening. I think if you look at these rumours that we've got here, which look like their interest, it's Paratici again, in my opinion. This is 4, 5, 6 defenders. It's like which one? And I think that Bremer is let's get everyone thinking over here whilst we're operating over there. So I just can't see this one.
Yeah, me as well, to be honest. Next up, Tosin Adarabioyo of Fulham. The Athletic says that Fulham defender Tosin Adarabioyo is another target for Tottenham, especially as he wants to leave and only has a year left in his contract. Romano says that Tottenham have not advanced anything at this stage for Tosin Adarabioyo as of yet. But I think this guy's a really good player. I really like him. Like, if we could go into next season with those two on the left that we were talking about, Van der Ven and Tosin and Tapsoba, and on the right-hand side have Adarabioyo underneath Christian Romero, I think that's 4 really good options. And you're talking about a really moderate fee for Tosin as well. I think they were talking about 6 to 10 million or something like that. So if you sign, let's say 40 million for Tapsoba, 25 million for Van der Ven, and let's say 10 million for argument's sake for Adarabioyo, that is your whole defence reformed for probably what some clubs would spend on one defender.
Yeah, I mean, where I am with this Fulham defender, I do like what I see from him, but I think the way we could get this deal done is by getting him and loaning him back to Fulham for the final year and letting him come next summer. Like I said, there's going to be big changes at Tottenham Hotspur this summer, ins and outs. Let this guy get another year of Premier League football under his belt, a place he's comfortable at, a place where he's playing regularly, let him develop, and then come to Tottenham. This is what I'd like to see sometimes. When players are in this final year, we've done this before with players. Like we did with Dele Alli when we got him in the final 6 months. It's like, stay there, finish your contract, get your minutes in, then come. And that could go a long way with Fulham going like, we don't want to sell him because we don't want to lose him. All right, well, we'll buy him and you can have him for the rest of the season. So that's what I'd like to see with this deal if we were to do it. But I can see what you're saying with competition for Romero.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I just want him in now for a moderate fee. They're going to have to sell because he's not signing that new contract. So they're going to have to sell it this summer at some point for some price. So I just don't want Eric Dyer backing up Cuti Romero next season. I just want that old guard and the players that have let us down so many times, time after time, him, Davinson Sanchez, those one for the right-hand side, and just say, come on, just go now. Bring the new guard in already. I don't get late in the year for it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't want to really say anything about Eric Dyer in this update, but yeah, he's got to be gone this summer. He's got to be, and if it means it's got to be that area needs to be addressed, and maybe we do need a secondary right centre back there just in case. But you know what? You've also you say that. I'm not saying this should be the way. You got to remember we could put Romero in, Royale in there, and Porro come there. Right back. So there is that extra option. We saw Romero play Royale.
We don't know in a back 2 though, you know. We know in a back 3. Yeah, exactly.
That's the sticking point. That's the sticking point. But there are options there. There is an option to do it. Not saying it'll be it'd work, but I think the way we might get Fulham is by getting him and loaning him back to them. We'll have to see, but he looks promising.
Yeah. All right, next up, let's talk about the last defender of the update, and that is Harry Maguire. Jay Percy says that Maguire is another option for Tottenham as they aim to strengthen their back line. Spurs are yet to indicate whether they will bid for Maguire, and there is no certainty that they will, but interest has been registered, and I think this is a non-starter, non-story, non-anything. I don't think there's any way that we're going to be signing Harry Maguire unless it's like a cheap loan for a year while we focus on other targets for next summer.
Yeah, two players I do not want to see the Spurs shirt or even mentioned: Harry Maguire, Clement Longley. Harry Maguire, if we've registered our interest, go lose that register. Find it, rip it up, give it to your dog to eat the homework, whatever it is. I can't. I really hope not. I really, really hope not. I just don't understand this. I don't.
Yeah. I don't think it's a starter, to be honest. And look, we've heard about Harry Maguire throughout the whole window so far, right?
Yeah.
And these Tapsobas and Mickey van der Vens and people like that are only coming up recently. And apparently we've made a lot more headway on these players than we had on Harry Maguire. So maybe Harry Maguire is just one of those that we're just keeping by the wayside if none of these targets actually follow through on.
Yeah, I'd still rather. I'd rather not. If these defenders fall through, which I don't think we might not get both of them or three of them, but I'm sure we'll get one of them. I don't care if the other two fall through. Still no to Harry Maguire. I just don't want him at this football club.
Agreed. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some wingers now. And up first is Jared Bowen of West Ham. The Athletic says that West Ham winger Jared Bowen is on Tottenham's list of homegrown targets. I mean, I don't see in any world that this deal can happen, especially after West Ham winning the Conference League. I don't think West Ham they're not that club anymore where we can just go nick a Jermaine Defoe off them and we can go nick these players off them. I don't think that they would openly sell to us when. If we were interested in Jared Bowen, there'd probably be a lot of suitors for him.
Yeah, I mean, we were linked with him before he moved to West Ham, weren't we? There were heavy rumours. I think he's a very, very good player. I think he's an extremely good player. I just can't see us being able to get him. Guy's just had a kid with Danny Dyer's daughter. Danny being a diehard West. Can you imagine what would happen there?
Danny Dyer would disown the grandkids, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like, there you go, you're no grandson of mine or granddaughter. I can't remember what they have, but congratulations
twins,
on that.
I think it is.
Oh, was it twins? Okay. Yeah, I just can't see this happening. I just can't. But I do think he is a very underrated and very decent player.
Yeah. Imagine scoring a winner for your team in a cup final in the Conference League, your first trophy since the 50s, I think it was. And then you go and join your biggest rivals. It's just not going to happen, surely.
That's from hero to zero in record time, really, isn't it? That would be the guy that broke your trophy drought, and then you go and join the bitter enemy. I don't know how that would go down, but I think it's a non-starter.
Yeah, agreed. And next up, let's talk about Harvey Barnes. Jay Percy saying that Barnes is a target for Tottenham, but sources suggest a move is not close at this stage. I know you're a big fan of Harvey Barnes.
I am, but you know what I have to say? Every time I hear the word Jay Percy, I keep thinking it's Perchy, and I'm like, what? He's a journalist, but yeah, I am a fan of his. I am a big fan of his. We spoke about this, I think, in January when it was about, and we did an update. I can't see us taking him and Maddison, and if we again, Harvey Barnes is one. When we talk about wingers, I don't really want us to be approaching and getting wingers till we sorted out Maddison and the centre backs. If we get those done and then we start looking at wingers and Harvey Barnes, then yeah, fine, go for him, do it. But I don't want to see us spending money on wingers until we know our centre backs are sorted and our creative midfielder.
Yeah, I get that, but if a deal does pop up before we do get in these targets that we're working on, surely it's the right thing to do to get the deals done before they go to other places.
Yeah, potentially. I think this is one that could drag out till like last couple of days of the window, and then it's like, okay, yeah, do you know what? We're gonna push the boat out, or we're gonna quickly go in. He's available and deal with this and wrap this up. But I don't think this is happening anytime soon. But if he came, I would be very happy.
Do you think he could be a long-term replacement for Heung-min Son?
See, it's a bold. No matter what happens, they're going to be huge shoes to fill, aren't they? Huge shoes. Whenever that day happens and Son goes and it's the replacement, it's going to be like when Harry Kane goes. Whoever comes in, it's like fill those shoes. It's going to be a daunting task for someone to take on the mantle. He's got a lot of pace. He's got a lot of pace. He's a good finisher. He's not in the same league as Son. Yeah. But Ange could develop him. Not saying he'll be to his level. You see how managers can get the best out of players. We'll have to wait and see. But it's an option if he gets injured again, isn't it?
Yeah. I kind of agree. I think he's a very good player. I just don't think. I think when we're looking to sign a left winger, I want to be signing the player that can replace Son in a few years, that can get minutes now, that's good enough now to come into the team and play well. But in 2-3 years' time, when Son leaves, you want him to take up that mantle, so we don't need to sign someone, scrambling around when Son leaves.
Yeah.
I want someone within the club that can learn off Son, that can take that mantle off Son when he does leave. So I don't know if Harvey Barnes is that guy, to be honest. I really don't.
Yeah, it's one of those, like I said, it's such humongous shoes to fill that you'd have to wait and see. And that guy, you're looking, how long's he been here now? 8 years, Son, or 7? And for every season,
was it?
Something like that. So yes, it's 8 seasons. So you're looking at it, every one apart from last season, and his first season to an extent, he's been absolutely sensational. So they're big shoes to fill. But Harvey Barnes is a player that interests me. Let's just say that.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Harry Kane now. Florian Plettenberg saying that Bayern Munich have informed the management of Victor Osimhen, that Harry Kane is now the hottest candidate for the club. A move for the Nigerian striker is currently almost off the table this week. Bayern are set to discuss the next step for their move for Harry Kane. Harry Kane is now Bayern's #1 transfer target. The club have held positive talks with Kane's management and family in the past few days. Bayern have told that if Kane were to move abroad, then to Munich, the club is optimistic that they could get a deal done for under 100 million euros. Yeah, right. Toby Altschaf says a move for Harry Kane at Bayern is now hotter than ever. Until recently, it looked like Tottenham player would stay in England. Now there's contact with Bayern. Well, there might be contact with Bayern, but I guarantee you we ain't going there this summer.
Yeah, do you know what, Ben? Like I said to you, I ended this season saying I think he's gone. He's going Madrid. He's going Madrid. He's going Madrid. Then I started coming back onto no, he's not going. And then this broke like wildfire. I'm like, oh, here we go again. I don't know why, but
I'm not going to go to Bayern.
There's two words that come to me when I saw this, as Dimitar Berbatov. I think this is going to drag out right till the end of the window. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm still not flipping over saying, yep, I'm back on he's leaving. But I think it's time now, especially with this rumour coming out, that the football club come out and say something. Where the footballing world and most importantly us fans know where this is going. Whether it's, listen, if Daniel Levy and the club come out and say, right, listen, he is going nowhere under no circumstances at any price. Is he going? And we run the risk of losing him for free. You're like, okay, all these rumours that you hear, nonsense, not happening. The silence is deafening, and I think it's come to the point where something's got to happen. Something's got to happen. Maybe it will tomorrow. Now these rumours have come out. Something may come out tomorrow.
Right. I think regardless of what Spurs are planning to do, I think the word that needs to go out from the club, regardless, is that he's not leaving, because that puts them in a strongest position in terms of how much money they can get. So
precisely that as well.
Say again?
So precisely.
So I think whatever they're planning to do with Harry Kane, even if they are planning to sell him, they need to say that he's not for sale.
Yeah. But like I said, silence is definitely in the club. How long has this been going on? Like, obviously, we saw what happened with Man City, blah, blah, but this has been a factor coming up to the tail end of last season, and obviously since the season ended, there's been streams dominating. Like, all the streams are all Spaces or all TalkSport, Sky. This discussion, the media, the club have got to come out and say, right, this is where we stand as Tottenham Hotspur on the Harry Kane situation. This is, and let it all out, and we go from there.
I don't think he's going to go. I think he's going to run.
I'm back with you. I'm back with you on this. I'm back with you on this, that he's not, and I'm just praying it stays that way.
Next up, Hugo Lloris, Gazzetta Italia, saying that Inter Milan are now keen on signing Tottenham captain Hugo Lloris this summer. Vicario's imminent arrival at Spurs would allow the Frenchman to move on in the coming weeks, with the Serie A side keen on his signature. That'd be a great move for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, obviously, Hugo, thank you for the memory. Time to go and all that. But I've made my thing. But do you know what? I don't know why. I keep thinking that Hugo's next move is going to be MLS. I really got a feeling that I think he could be MLS bound. But wherever he goes, we wish him well. He's a great keeper. There's no doubt in his shot stopping. He's just not good enough for the Premier League anymore, and he's not designed from playing out from the back. So the rumours are going to keep. Now the goalkeeper's come, and he obviously came out a few weeks ago and said something. Now that the goalkeeper situation seems to be signed, sealed, delivered, pending a medical, I think in the coming week, 10 days, he'll be out.
Yeah, I agree. And I always thought he would end up back in France, to be honest. I thought those Nice links just was just so like obvious. Like he started his career back in Nice, go end your career back in Nice, a city that you love, a city that you grew up in. It just made the most sense to me. But you know what? If he gets an offer from Inter Milan, I think that'll be a bit too hard to turn down for him, to be honest, especially with Onana potentially leaving this summer. He could find his #1 spot back in the Champions League. Crazy.
He could do, couldn't he? He could do, but I think everyone would agree that his time's up at Tottenham and he will be out the door.
Absolutely. Let's move on. Romain Mundle. Romano broke today that Mundle will join Belgian side Standard Liège on a 4-year deal. Tottenham will receive compensation for their academy player. And there have also been some quotes from Mundle today, and he says, after an incredible 15 years at my boyhood club, the time has come to close this chapter. I am eternally grateful to everyone that has supported me throughout my journey at Tottenham, from the coaches and the club staff to my fantastic teammates. Thank you for everything, Spurs, and I wish the club every success for the future. Sad, this one, isn't it? Because I really think he could potentially turn out to be a top talent.
Yeah, it could be another Madueke. It could be another Edwards. It could be... This boy had something about him. He really, really did. And do you know what? It's amazing that when all these rumours broke out and then all of a sudden Yaya Touré's now there, you got to start thinking, is there anything between that? Who knows? But it is another talent that we've lost. It is, as you heard, 15 years at Tottenham, his boyhood club. It's another one we've let go. I think he'll be back in the Premier League within 3 to 4 years. I just hope there's something in that contract that, like they do now, where option to buy back first or whatever it may be, because this guy...
Brian. It's not possible because he left us on a free transfer, so it wasn't even negotiations between the two clubs.
You're right. You're right. So it is another one that slipped through the net. Unfortunately, we have a habit of doing this. This boy has got real potential. Seen him on multiple occasions, and I wish him well. It's weird now. There's a few going over to Belgium, isn't there? There's seems to be Belgium, Germany. The good thing for the youngsters is they do seem to be. If they're not getting their path into the first team, they are now getting prepared to try European football, which is good for us.
Are you surprised though at Belgium? Because I thought like someone like him, youngster coming through that wants to get first team minutes, to go to a bit of a higher level, maybe like a Germany or maybe even a France.
Yeah, he could have gone there, but Belgium, you've got to remember he's seen Jan Vertonghen, Toby are out there. There's always a Spurs connection with Belgium, isn't there? And with Yaya being there, that will be a great comfort to him. Obviously, having worked with him for the year. And it is somewhere where he probably will get a lot more first team minutes than going to a Germany or a France. And that's what he's been craving. So we'll have to keep a close eye on Standard Liège next season.
All right. And last but not least for this update, a really long and beefy update for you guys to get your teeth into today. But Robbie Keane, he's taken his first job in management today. So I wanted to wish him a good, big congratulations. And he will be going to manage Mazal Tov. Yeah, he's going to be managing Maccabi Tel Aviv of Israel. I mean, what a crazy appointment is that?
Do you know what? I was just chilling out today watching it, and then I saw someone put it in one of my mates sent it to me, and I was like, is that some kind of joke? So I went onto Twitter, Maccabi Tel Aviv. I was like, bloody hell, do you know what? Fair play to Robbie Keane. Fair play to Robbie Keane, because we see so many managers who have got their reputation here and they get a big job immediately. And we've seen what it's done for Gerrard, Lampard, whatever. It's kind of something. But to go out to Israel in a league where obviously it's not a big European league, the language, the culture, everything's so different there. Fair play to Robbie Keane. Fair
I
play
can't
to
wait
Robbie
to hear
Keane.
him speaking Hebrew.
Oh, could you imagine? I mean,
In that
they're
Irish
gonna,
accent.
yeah, with a thick Irish accent, they're going to be giving it some. But yeah, it's obviously living there for 3.5 years. You obviously know the country. It's a very, very hard language, and it's a very the weather conditions. All right, he was in LA for part of his career, but he's going to the city that never sleeps. He'll be treated like a superstar there. He'll be welcomed with open arms. And do you know what? I'm really impressed. Forget that he's going to Israel, country that's very close to our hearts. But fair play to a football manager who wants to sink his teeth into a profession to go into a league like this to try and gain some experience. I think it's a great move for both Maccabi Tel Aviv and for Robbie Keane.
Well, good luck to both of those going into next season. I'll be keeping a close eye on that for sure. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what does come out of that. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining me. Tell the people what's coming up on Tottenham on Tour this week.
Yeah, we're back. I mean, like London buses, we've been away for so long, and 2 videos came out at once today. So we've done 2 videos today. I will be back doing stuff every single day. There may or may not be a pop-up tomorrow, so people look out for that. We shall wait and see. Edge of your seat
like
stuff
a
there.
secret Glastonbury set or something.
Exactly. Exactly. And I've just realised you might need to change your name next season to We Are Maccabi Tel Aviv TV for some games when it's when Spurs aren't playing. But yeah, there's a lot
Europe
of stuff.
maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff going on from Tottenham on Tour now. And Ben, always a pleasure being on the show with you.
Big up. All right. So everyone go and subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. Smash that subscribe button on this channel as well if you're new around here. But thank you everyone for joining. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.